My instructor told me that there are going to be times when you'll see someone in trouble. You're going to want to rush in there and do whatever you can to save them. But you have to stop yourself. Because there are some people you can't save. Because those people will thrash and struggle and try to take you down with them.
What does that have to do with me?
Hey, hello, how do you do? Shady Doorags here. Well, this is it. This will be the final season journey video before the finale is released. Ironically enough, it's probably the most important season in the show as well as one of the most unique. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's step back a few paces. Season 2 left Bojack off once again in a pretty high place physically. His dream role of playing Secretariat in a movie had been done, and the test screening was a success. Mentally, however, Bojack had just come off of a personal journey about striving for permanent happiness instead of momentary joy. So, Season 3 proceeds, and Bojack, along with his new image manager, Anna Spadakopera, is trying to redefine Bojack's legacy through Secretariat. There is a slight problem, however.
A lot of people still see you as a guy from that sucky show from the 90s.
Horsing Around was not a sucky show.
Stop defending horsing around.
Why? Millions of people loved it.
We need to use these next few months to define your story.
In Bojack's mind, horsing around is evidence that he has some value to this world. He has put his entire identity into it. So, whenever he hears someone trash talking it, he can't help but defend it. However, it also shows a lack of faith. If Bojack wants to put his future in the hands of Secretariat, he's gonna have to take it out of the hands of horsing around. Throughout the season, Bojack goes on various activities trying to boost the Secretariat movie. If you pay attention, you'll notice a reoccurring theme throughout the season. In fact, most of the seasons have one. For season 1, it was being a good person and doing the right thing. For season 2, it was temporary joy versus lasting happiness. For season 3, it's reputation and impact, which is why Bojack spent most of the season striving for an Oscar. The Secretariat movie means nothing if it doesn't leave a lasting impact on Bojack's reputation. And it's not only the Oscar nomination. Bojack has many ventures that, at their core, involve what people think about him. The Bojack Horseman show is about him trying to start a new show and get a different reputation, which is actually sabotaged from him trying to get away from horsing around.
You heard what the network said.
I heard them say they loved it.
I also heard that.
Exactly. The network loved it. Obviously, we're playing it too safe.
Love and/or Marriage has Bojack give a speech that accidentally influences a young woman to break off her marriage.
I was thinking about what Bojack said before, about how when you know, you know. If you know when you know, and I only think that I know, maybe that means that I don't know. The wedding's off.
Oh.
It's a rehearsal dinner.
Thank you, Bojack.
And in Stop the Presses, Anna and Bojack disagree that their superficial image is the only thing that matters.
You don't want to know me, Bojack.
No, I do. I want to be known and know others.
You don't.
Another thing of note is that, as a result of some of these mini-ventures, Bojack loses connections with the majority of his friends. He gets in a fight with Diane, he fires Princess Carolyn, and he backstabs Todd. Eventually, Bojack does get nominated for the Oscars and celebrates. All his work has paid off, yet he can't help but feel, thanks to Diane, that maybe this is just another one of those momentary happinesses. Before too long, though, it becomes irrelevant.
So, the good news is my brother's surgery was a success. And the bad news is you're not nominated for an Oscar. And the other good news is that each breath is a gift and it is a joy for me.
What?
As easily as it's given to him, Bojack's Oscar nomination is taken away. And just like that, everyone leaves Bojack. He put everything on the line for this Oscar nomination. This is what he defined gave him value. Without it, all these people who saw something in him now want nothing to do with him.
I'm here to pick up the giant chocolate Oscar. My boss really wants our product to only be seen with real Oscar nominees.
This outcome was hinted at both earlier in this season and in season 2.
Everyone here loves you.
They don't love me. They don't even know me.
That's why they love you, schmuck.
Because otherwise, you're just going to get older and harder and more alone. And you're going to do everything you can to fill that hole with friends and your career and meaningless sex, but the hole doesn't get filled. And one day, you're going to look around and you're going to realize that everybody loves you, but nobody likes you.
This fall causes Bojack to give up on caring. He's in a bad place and he wants nothing more than to forget his problems. And there's only one person close to Bojack whom he's willing to tolerate and who's willing to tolerate him.
Sober, so good. Whew. Bojack?
Hey, Sarah Lynn. You want a party?
Oh, thank God. Yes!
Bojack asks Sarah Lynn to go down a bender with him. Together, they drown their sorrows in any kind of toxic substance they can get their hands on, simply enjoying each other's company. They also, in their drunk stupor, decide that Bojack should make amends to everyone he's hurt.
You know, I used to feel just like you before I got into this 12 steps thing. They taught me how to make amends. You just say you're sorry for the things you did and you get a clean slate.
So what? Just dirty up the slate again.
Then you just make amends again. It's a never-ending cycle where you always end up feeling good about yourself.
Eventually, after making their rounds, Bojack and Sarah Lynn make their way to a hotel room where Sarah Lynn has a revelation.
Bojack, I don't like anything about me.
I go over this in my Sarah Lynn Price video, so I won't spend too much time here. Essentially, Sarah Lynn admits to Bojack that her current life, a life which he had a major influence over, is one she is dreading and is scared to keep living.
What am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. Am I doomed?
Bojack tries to make Sarah Lynn feel better by finally giving in to her request to go to the planetarium.
See, Sarah Lynn? We're not doomed. In the great grand scheme of things, we're just tiny specks that will one day be forgotten. So it doesn't matter what we did in the past or how we'll be remembered. The only thing that matters is right now. This moment. This one spectacular moment we are sharing together. Right, Sarah Lynn? Sarah Lynn? Sarah Lynn?
It's been said many times before, and I'll say it again here. Sarah Lynn's death is the most important and most powerful scene in the entire series, let alone in Season 3. Listen to the words that Bojack is saying. He's trying to make Sarah Lynn feel better, yes, but there's one part that stands out separately from the rest of the speech.
So it doesn't matter what we did in the past or how we'll be remembered.
When Sarah Lynn broke down, she didn't mention anything about how she would be remembered. In fact, Sarah Lynn has given no signs that she's ever cared about how she'd be remembered. Bojack mentions this because Sarah Lynn is not the only one he's trying to comfort here. He's also talking to himself, telling himself that the horrible things he's done in his life or the good things he's neglected to do don't matter. Bojack openly declares that the only thing that matters is him and Sarah Lynn being together right now.
The only thing that matters is right now. This moment. This one spectacular moment we are sharing together.
And reality comes along to tell Bojack how dare he. He thinks it's that easy? No. He might only care about being together with Sarah Lynn right now. But right now, he isn't with Sarah Lynn. And that's all because of the choices both of them made. Bojack heavily influenced messing up Sarah Lynn's life. Him taking her to the observatory is his way of making amends. But Sarah Lynn was wrong. Simply making amends and making yourself feel better isn't enough. If you don't change yourself, a heavy price will wind up being paid.
You can't keep doing this. You can't keep doing things and then feel bad about yourself like that makes it okay. You need to be better.
The reality hits Bojack. He comes to the realization of what his image can do to people.
I kept thinking, I did this to her. And everyone was just standing around like, well, this was bound to happen, but it wasn't bound to happen.
Bojack decides to take control of his image once and for all. He wants to give people the hope he once did when he was the horse from Horsing Around, an image he spent all season trying to get away from. So, he signs up for the Ethan Around continuation, hoping to do just that. But there's one last realization waiting for Bojack.
What do you want to be when you grow up, Chloe?
What do you mean? I want to be like you.
Like me?
I want to be famous.
Oh no.
No matter what he does, as long as he's in the spotlight, Bojack's personality will be an inspiration for someone somewhere. Sarah Lynn could happen again. That is a reality that Bojack is not ready to handle. And so, fully consumed by his emotions, Bojack drives out onto the highway, waiting for his car to do what cars do. He stops, however, when he sees horses in the distance running, inspiring him to start his journey for the next season. Throughout this season, Bojack was worried about his legacy, reputation, and influence, but only on a superficial level. He was so concerned about his influence affecting him, he neglected how it affected others. Once he lost the Oscar opportunity, he also lost his willingness to care about how people viewed him. But what he didn't realize was there was someone he'd been influencing for the longest time. Someone who he continued to influence even as he stopped striving to be recognized. Sarah Lynn followed Bojack's example on a personal level, and he drug her down with him. Sarah Lynn's last words being about how she wants to accomplish something she'll never get to do. Bojack now understands how his actions influence others' mindsets. If he can remember that from now on, he can avoid paying the Sarah Lynn price once again. This has been Shady Doorags. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
Hey, how long have we known each other? Feels like our entire lives.
Well, my entire life, pretty much.
You know, sometimes it feels like you're the only one who really understands me, because how could anyone else?
Nobody knows what we went through.
But we knew each other before we were anybody, and that's how we can be friends, because we're not like those other people. We don't want anything from each other. You know, I could never figure out what love meant, but right now, I don't need to figure out anything. I just feel it. I love you, Sarah Lynn.
I want to be an architect.